Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, this is, I believe it's number 4. Number 4. And what's number 4? As you can see, Spydercos. My 4-inch blade Spydercos. These are some of my favorite knives, my Spydercos. I actually love the Spyderco knives. They make really good knives. I just recently got into them the last few years. I started getting into them the last few years. They're like one of the newest brands of knives I've gotten into. That, it's an American-based company. And these are some of my favorites. I actually pretty much like all the ones I have so far. And the one I like the most, as you can tell, is the Manix 2XL. But let's start off with the ones that I only got like one or two. I got 2 of these, but they're both the same, so we're just going to do one of these. I only got one of these and one of these. And the reason being is that Spydercos aren't cheap. So the only ones I really buy a lot of are the ones I really like a whole lot. And so far, the one I like the best is the Manix 2XL. That's my favorite out of all of my Spydercos so far. But anyway, let's get started. This one is a Chinook. It's a James Keating design. He's a person that teaches knife fighting, instructs self-defense with knives. And this is his design for a folder. It's very interesting too. It's got an upswept blade. I don't even know if I'd call that a Persian style blade, because it's more upswept than most Persian style blades. It looks more like a reminds me of like a sharp finger. An old style charade sharp finger style blade, which was a skinning blade. But this is his design. It's got the S30V, CPM S30V blade. What else can I tell you about it? This one's made in Seiki, Japan, Seiki City, Japan. It's got this is a stainless steel backspacer because it makes this handle really handle heavy. If you can see right there, the balancing point is way back here. The handle scales are made out of G10. Doesn't have a deep carry pocket clip, but has a lanyard hole. It's got the big Spidey hole. And what makes this one really interesting, it's got the power lock. These are my only knives with power locks, my 2 Chinooks. I don't think that they make this model anymore, though. I think it's a model that's been discontinued. It hasn't been made for a while, I don't think. And I don't know why they stopped making it, because it's actually a great knife. It operates pretty much like a cold steel. And the power lock was a lock that was designed by Spyderco to compete with the cold steel triad lock. So it's a super strong back style lock. You operate it pretty much, it's a safe opening and closing knife. You can see right there. See where it hits my finger. So if you know how to use it, if you know how to use a triad folder, you can use one of these. But the triad folder, when it went up against the triad in the Demco test, it failed like about, I want to say like 300 and something pounds. So it is a super strong lock, but it wasn't as strong as the triad. And it was always being advertised as being the one that could take on the triad until Andrew Demco tested it. And that was sort of like the start to be the demise of it. Because before then, everybody was like, oh yeah, that's going to be the one that beats the triad. But it didn't. But it's still an excellent knife, though. It looks good. It's a good looking knife. And I think this one is meant to be used in a reverse grip. That's the way James Keating pretty much teaches people how to fight with knives. He likes this style of grip the best, from what I've seen in his videos, when he's using smaller knives. So it's like a close quarters combat type knife. And it's super comfortable in the reverse grip too. It's like super, super comfortable, even with the pocket clip. Forward grip, you know, it's just like, it feels like a lot of different knives in the forward grip. But when you go in the reverse grip, it feels extra comfortable. Got like a big thumb rest. I think it's a nice little knife. I carried this one for a little bit, but I never really got into carrying it too much because the balance is kind of weird for me, because I'm used to, you know, I mean, people, I like knives that balance evenly 50-50 at the front finger groove. And when they don't, kind of throws me off, because that's not what I'm used to. I'm not used to a knife that's really handle heavy like this one. I like them to be a 50-50, so then I can manipulate it in my hand a little bit better. See, with the way that this one's balanced, it's kind of weird for me to manipulate it, because it's not what I'm used to. But I think it's an excellent knife. The fit and finish on it is beautiful. It's a beautifully made knife. And they're worth a lot now too. There was like 3 different generations of this knife, and this was the last generation of it. And if you can find these now, they're very expensive. This one right here is the Trophin. And it's a compression lock knife. They're still making these. And out of all the compression lock knives that I have 3 different compression lock knives. The only reason why you see this one, the other one not out here, is because it's a 3.5-inch blade knife. So that'll be in the next set of videos. This video set is about 4-inch blades. And then my minimum requirement for a blade for this set of videos is 3 3/4. Anything smaller than 3 3/4, I'm calling it medium size. To be a large knife, that's what a 4-inch blade knife is to me. I consider it to be large, not extra large. Large. Extra large is like when you get above 4.5 inches to me, like 5-inch, 5.5 inches, 6 inches. Those are extra large knives. And as far as the size is concerned, 4-inch blade knives are the ones I like to carry the most. So I have more 4-inch blade knives than any other size of knife. And the reason why I like to carry these the most is because it's the one I can carry legally where I live. The biggest knife I can carry legally in my city. So that's the reason why I have a lot of 4-inch blade knives. I like a lot of my favorite knives are 3.5-inch blade knives, like the 8020S, like the one that's in my pocket. My 8020S. But it's not my favorite size, but that's just my favorite knife because of the way it operates. I like compression locks too. I have another 4-inch blade knife on order, pre-order, the new Military 2 Spyderco. I've been waiting for that one forever. I'm looking forward to getting that one too. It's not going to be a flipper. It'll be my first compression lock knife that's not a flipper. But I'm looking forward to that one too, because the handle looks like it's going to be really comfortable. This one I didn't really care for too much after I got it. I still think it's a sexy looking blade. Isn't that sexy? It's got polished G10 handle scales, polished G10 backspacer. It's a beautiful looking knife. Beautiful looking. Stainless steel liners. And the liners are all skeletonized. And I love the way compression locks work. It's not really a liner lock. It's sort of like a hybrid liner lock. You know, it's a liner lock that's taken and made better. I mean, and it's made so you don't have to put your finger in the way of the path of the blade when you close the knife. And it uses a stop pin, or a stop bar, or whatever you want to call it, and it jams the liner in between that and the blade tang. So I think it's a lot stronger than your average liner lock. Now, is it as strong as a ball bearing lock or a power lock? I don't think so. I think it's stronger than a liner lock though. That I would say. That I would say. And the reason why I say that is because it's like a 1 millimeter or something like that liner that they're using. So it's not super thick and super stout looking, but it looks like it's strong enough though. But this knife is, you know, it's a beautiful knife. It's a full flat ground blade. Oh, the James Keating blade is also full flat ground. Full flat ground blade. And this one I would sort of call it like a scimitar or a Persian style blade. I don't know exactly what kind of blade shape that would be. It's different. It's a Trophin blade shape. That's what it is. I think it's a beautiful looking knife, but it's got too many things going on with it. It's got the Emerson wave, what do you call it? It's got the potential to deploy out your pocket like an Emerson snag, I don't know what you call the Emerson thing. The cutout, Emerson cutout on the blade. So you can snag it out of your pocket. Plus it's got the Spidey hole. And plus it's got the flipper. The Spyder hole is basically not that great for deployment. I think it's a little bit too small. But it's okay if you want to slow roll it. Because you can't reverse flick it unless you're using the Emerson wave thing. You can reverse flick it from the Emerson wave thing. You can't use the Spidey hole. The best way to open this one to me is using the flipper. I've talked before about I don't really care for knives that have too many different opening options, because then it sort of gets too busy for the knife. Like having this and this and this looks like too much. I'd rather not have the Emerson thing right here. Maybe have a bigger Spidey hole and just a flipper. But this is the Trophin. And also on this one, I had to dull the blade right here, because when you bring it all the way in, the blade comes up to right here where you operate the flipper and the compression lock. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is part of the blade right here. It used to be sharp. I dulled it right there, just to make sure I wouldn't cut myself using it. Other than that, it's a very safe knife because this really engulfs your finger. So even if the lock was to give away, this blade's not going anywhere. I don't think it could close if you're holding it like this. So I think it's a very safe knife. I think it's a very sexy looking knife. It's just not my favorite one. It's not my favorite Spyderco. Of all my Spydercos, it's probably my least favorite. And it's probably one of the most expensive ones too. That I have. And the blade's still on it. Did I say it was CPM-S30V? That's what it is. This is one of my favorites, the amalgam. I love the amalgam. And the other one I like a lot is the sliver axe. But the amalgam, I really love this one. I like the size of it. I like the way it feels in my hand. It's a very safe knife, just like the Trophin. It basically can't fold in on your hand. And even if it did, you still got a big finger choil right here, so that you're not going to get cut. This is a very well thought out knife. This knife has carbon fiber layered over G10 handle scales. And it's done excellent. It's beautifully done. This is a very nice knife. Nice thick blade stock all the way to the tip. It's the ones I really like. This one's in my rotation drawer right now. I highly recommend this one. I think this one is a really nice knife. I like the size of it. I like the blade shape. It's a great slicer. It's a great knife to take to work and use, you know, for food prep. CPM-S 30V, still, Spyderco does CPM-S 30V excellent. This one's made in Taichung, Taiwan, which is like the super duper Taiwan knife making plant. Yeah, it says CPM-S 30V on it, Spyderco CPM-S 30V. And this one's made in Taichung also, I think. Let me check to make sure. Yep, Taichung, Taiwan. So the quality of it, you know, is very good. It's just not my favorite knife. It's not my favorite knife, but I still like it being in my collection. I don't have that many Spydercos. These are, only got, what, 2, 4, 6, 8 Spydercos, because I got this one plus another one. That's gonna be, you'll see it with the 3.5 inch blade knives. When I get the military too, they'll give me 9 of them. But I love Spydercos. It's a very good knife brand. I've been very impressed with the Manix 2 XL. This one's very impressive too, the amalgam. For people who like compression locks, this is a great compression lock folder. If you like safe compression locks, you know, ones where even if the blade lock was to give out, it's not going to chop up your fingers. Because I always say with these kind of locks, you got to either make sure that it has a really good finger choil, so even if the blade folds in on your hand, you're not going to get cut. Or I really prefer having a flipper. I know a lot of people don't like the big flippers or whatever, but flippers save your fingers. There's no, you know, no doubt about that. This is an excellent knife. Highly recommend it, people. Spyderco amalgam. And now these are the American ones. This is Japan, Seiki City, Japan. And these two are Taichung, Taiwan. All the rest are going to be American made. Golden, Colorado. First up, let's switch them around like this. This one is unmolested. Unmolested means it's not customized. This is S30V. It's the exact same knife as this one, only this one's been all modified and carried. This one's never been carried and it's never been modified. So it's just like you would originally, like you would buy it. If you were to go out and buy one right now, this is what you would get. And this is an excellent knife. It's DLC coated. That's not Cerakote or PVD. That's DLC. It's the matte finish DLC. CPM-S 30V. Made in the United States, Golden, Colorado. For all you that like American knives. Open back design, full stainless steel liners. Ball bearing lock. Now this one has the polymer cage, or I guess a FRN cage or polymer cage. I don't care for the polymer cages. The first thing I do when I modify these, or if I'm going to carry one, I get the Fly titanium ball cage. And when you get the Fly titanium ball cage, it's best to take it apart because the post screws into the actual cage. And I like to take that apart and then red Loctite it and put it all back together and let that dry for a couple of days, get good and dry, and then I put it all together. That's what I did on these two, or these two, I mean. But this is the way, this is my collector one, and this one's, I'm not going to carry it unless something happens with this one and I lose it or it gets damaged or whatever, then I would make it like this one. But I absolutely love these. The reason why I like these so much is because the handles are what I call a perfect handle. Exact same handles. Like I know this was around before this came into existence. So I think Andrew Demko probably got the idea for this handle from this handle. But I love the shape of the handle. I love the shape of the handle for an everyday use knife. I think it's perfect. And I like the weight of these. The weight of these is just right. The size of the blade is just right. The utility use of this blade is, it cuts like, oh man, it slices really nicely. I mean, if you're doing it for food prep, you know, carrying it for, you know, like a work knife like I do, you know, these are all work knives for me. That's the way I think of them. They're knives I carry to work. And I absolutely love them. Absolutely love it. It's a perfect knife blade for food prep. Oh, we should be leaving these open, huh? Let's leave them open. Let's leave them open. All right, next up. Now here's the same thing as this one, only it's been modified. Y'all seen this one lots of times. This is my oldest one. This is my oldest Spyderco. It was my first Spyderco. And it's the one I like the best. This one, recently I put a backspacer on it, aluminum backspacer. I got it off of eBay. The scales came from bladescales.com. These are Micarta blade scales. That's another thing. These are texturized G10. Texturized G10. These are texturized G10. These are smooth, polished G10. And these are carbon fiber laminated G10. I absolutely love this knife. I wanted to make, my idea when I was making this one, putting this one together, and picking out the parts for it, is I wanted to make it look more military. And I think I accomplished that. You know, I got the OD green scales and used a black finish knife. Absolutely love this knife. These are S30Vs. I think all of them are S30Vs. All of these are S30Vs, I'm pretty sure. CPM S30V. So now we need to change blade steels, huh? Cruwear. Cruwear. KnifeCenter.com exclusives. Cruwear. And these are actually less expensive than these. These are S30V, and this is Cruwear, and this one's less expensive than this one. This one was like $170 or something like that. And these are like $230 or something like that. They're over $200. So I think these are sort of like a deal. But these handle scales, I really don't care for these handle scales because these have texture, these don't. These are totally smooth. I mean, like slippery smooth. And, you know, for those of you who don't like to tear up your pocket pants, you know, pulling knives in and out, these will probably be the scales for you. But it's a G10. It's a totally smooth G10. It doesn't have any texture at all. So that's the one thing I don't like about this one, is that I don't really care for the handle scales. Because I like to have a little, you know, you don't really need, because the handle's shaped so well, you don't really need any grip, extra grip or whatever. I just like having it anyway. I absolutely love the way that, you know, these knives are made. I like the forward finger choil. I like the way the grip is made. I like the jimping on the back of the blade right here, and where you rest your thumb. It's just a very comfortable knife to use for cutting purposes, for actually, you know, using it for cutting chores. Full flat ground Cruwear. This is my other Cruwear one. This is the same thing as this one. Originally, this one looked like this. And then it got into my hands. I put Natural J G10 handle scales from bladescales.com on it. And polished everything all out. And I put a lanyard plug on it from SV. But this one I've carried the mess out of. And I'm not worried about Cruwear really getting rusty real easy or whatever, because I've never had any rust issues on it. And I've used this one for cutting all kinds of things, you know, from fruit, you know, different from fruit to meat or whatever. You know, I always clean off nice as soon as I get done using them, though. I don't let stuff just sit on them. But I haven't had any corrosion issues. Because I was sort of worried about that with the Cruwear being not coated. Because it's kind of weird to me that they coat the S30, the CPM S30V, which is a stainless steel or stain resistant steel, and they don't coat the Cruwear. Seems like that'd be coating this one and not coating this one. But anyway, these were Knife Center exclusives. This one's been totally modified. It's the exact same knife as this one. Just like this one's the exact same knife as this one. But then it got in my hands. It's got the titanium fly titanium ball cage that's been modified. I even modified the ball cage by taking it apart and red Loctiting it, like I just told you. I polished all the parts on it, polished the liners, polished the spine of the blade. So you can see the difference now, probably. Wasn't hard to do because I didn't have to take off any black finishes or anything. I just had to wet sand it to get it smoothed out so I could polish it. These are beautiful knives, though. Highly recommend them. And I must say that, you know, next to my 8020S model, this is probably my second favorite knife. The only reason why, you know, it will never be able to take the S20's place is because this I can only use with one hand, my right hand, unless I change the, you know, swap the pocket clip around to the other side. But when you get the bladescales.com scales, they're only for right side. They only have holes drilled for the left side. I think you can order them with holes drilled for the other side, but if you don't, like I didn't, you know, because it's an extra cost, I think it was. I just got this side because I'm a right-handed person. I didn't really need the other side. But this one's set up to be a right-handed knife. And it's a super smooth knife. I love the ball bearing lock. I expect the ball bearing lock to be maybe not as strong as the power lock, but I do expect it to be stronger than a compression lock. And it's fun to use. It's fun to use. This is a fun knife to use. With the right hand, I mean the left hand, it's hard for me to close it because it's hard to get a good grip on it to close. I did it right there, but it wasn't easy to do, people. And then the opening is not so bad, but it's the closing part. Because like when I use these, when I close these, I hold on to the pocket clip. And it's like an axis lock. You don't need to touch the blade at all to open it or close it. You could just use the ball bearing lock itself. So it operates a lot like an axis lock. When you first get these aren't as smooth as like these are because these have been broken in by me. So this one's like super smooth. Same thing with this one. These are a little bit stiffer. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Actually, this one's pretty easy too. This one's not. I have to use more wrist to get it to work. That's the difference, is how much wrist you have to use. Like this one, hardly any wrist. Beautiful knife. I absolutely love these. just like I said, I love the way they fit my hand. I love the finger choils. The finger choils and the jimping on the back of the blade. It's a really good cutter. Awesome knife, people. Highly recommend them. I love my Spydercos. I love my Spydercos. I know Spydercos are a lot, you know, the more expensive brand of knife, but they do make some good knives. And I always put them on because I always thought they were funny looking. But I really like the way this one looks. I think out of all these, this is the one I like the best. I like the way it looks. I like the ball bearing lock. I don't know, I think I sort of like the ball bearing lock better than I like a compression lock. And the compression lock's really nice too, though. And this one's more like operating a triad lock. That's what I would compare it to. This one's the one that's most like the triad lock. But the ball bearing lock rocks. It's a lot, to me, it's comparable to like an axis lock. That's what I would compare it to. But unlike the axis lock, you don't have omega springs that break real easy. Or I shouldn't say they break real easy, because I've only broken 2 omega springs in any of my axis lock knives that I've ever had. I've never broken an omega spring in the Catigos, and I could carry the Catigos just as much, if not more, than the SOCP. I think maybe the SOCP, because of the way that the handle's made, maybe they're a smaller omega spring or something. Or I don't know, something's a little bit different, but I did break 2 omega springs in that one. But since I've lubed them and stuff like that, I haven't had any issues. And when omega springs break, they don't both break at the same time. My experience is that they break one at a time. So the knife is still operable. It's not like it's inoperable. You can still use it until you fix it, get it fixed, or fix it yourself. And they're really easy to fix. It's not a big deal. And Omega springs are cheap too. You get a bunch of them for less than $9. I think I got like 5 of them for $9 or something like that. It's pretty. So I got a lot of spares. But this knife is an awesome knife. This is one of my favorite knives of all time. The Manix 2XL. And when you hear me say my favorite knife of all time, I should say what category for it. For a work knife. Because this one, and my 8020S, which is the easiest knife to use out of all my knives, are my 2 favorite knives. Absolutely love these. They're my favorite knives to carry, to use, all of that. Now, if I'm, but they're not my favorite knives for self-defense, though. My favorite knives for self-defense are the Tal Wars and the Recon 1s, and the Voyagers, and those are like my 3 big favorites. Then after that comes like Counterpoints and all the other ones, the Espadas and stuff like that. But for an everyday carry work knife that you're going to carry it back and forth to work and use at work and use for actual cutting chores, it's hard to beat it. Let's see how much they weigh. .5 ounces, perfect weight. Exact same weight almost as the 8020S. The 8020S is 5.4 with the G10 scales. 5.1 ounces. It's probably because these scales weigh less. Because they're very thin and they're very smooth. Whereas these are thicker and they got texture to them. 5.2 ounces. These are pretty much like these, only with texture. They're still thin, but they got texture. Micarta scales. 5.3, lighter than G10. Micarta is lighter than G10. The scales are made pretty much the same way, though. Same thickness and everything else. Chinook. James Keating Chinook. 5.1 ounces. Excellent weight. Excellent weight. I just don't care for how handle heavy it is at the back because it got that stainless steel back spacer. If it had aluminum back spacer, it'd probably bounce out the knife a lot better, if you ask me. I think he made it that way on purpose because I think that's the way he likes knives to be balanced. 4.1 ounces. That's an awesome weight for the size of this knife. 4.1 ounces. Amalgam. That was the Trophin. Amalgam. 4.5 ounces. Another beautiful lightweight knife. This is a really, it's not the most attractive knife to me, but it's just a very good, very good knife for work or whatever because the blade is functional. I mean, it's like, it's just like one of these blades. It slices really nice. It's easy to carry. It's lightweight. Doesn't attract too much attention. Won't scare people. You know what I mean? It's a good knife. It's a good knife for work. All right, people. Let me see what else we got here. What else can we do? Let's see how thick they are. First up, James Keating knife. The Chinook. 3.23 millimeters. 3.23 millimeters. The Trophin. 3.23 millimeters. The Amalgam. 3.26 millimeters. The Manix 2XL, zero here. Manix 2XL, 3.17 millimeters. Yep, 3.17 millimeters. Cruwear, Manix 2XL. 3.16, same thing. Same thing. All right. Blade lengths. The Chinook. 3 7/8. Trophin. 4 inches. Just a touch over 3 3/4 for the Amalgam. And these are all going to be the same. 3 7/8. 3 7/8. All right, people. That's it for these. That's it for these. These are my Spydercos, the ones that qualify to be considered a large knife. They're all over 3 3/4 inch blade length. Excellent knives. The ones I recommend the most, I guess you already figured that out. The Manix 2XL with the ball bearing lock. It's my favorite one. After that, be the Amalgam. After that would be the the one that you can't get anymore, the Chinook. And after that, the Trophin. I think they're all great knives. It's just that Trophin's got too many opening things on it. It's a little bit too busy for me. I don't like the way that I had to dull the blade in order to keep myself from getting cut on it. But I love the finish of the handle. I love the shape, the contouring of the handle. It's just like if they took away this and maybe made the Spidey hole bigger and kept that. I love the flipper on it's perfect. Flipper on it's perfect. And maybe put a finger choil here. So instead of maybe having it cut out like this, maybe just have it come straight back. And then give it a finger choil and raise this up, raise up the Spidey hole a little bit. See, if the Spidey hole was raised up a little bit, I don't know if you can see that, it'd be more accessible. I think they sort of messed up when they tried to put the Emerson Wave thing on it. They should have left that off and just let the blade come straight back like one of these blades. That'd be the way I would design it. And I try to have it, not worry about having an Emerson wave thing on it. Anyway, people, these are my blades. These are my Spydercos, my 4-inch blade Spydercos, the ones I like, the ones I have. Absolutely love them all. I think they're all great knives. It's just that I do have preferences over others. These are my favorites. And you can tell that because these are the ones I got a whole lot of. You always can tell knives when I really like them because I always buy multiples. I always buy multiples of them, the models I really like. The ones I like the best. Like I said, this is an excellent knife. It's just that I like these better. I like the way they look better. I like the way they feel in my hand better. I like the way they slice better. And I like the ball bearing lock over the compression lock. But I'm gonna get that military. I bet you that's gonna be one I like too. The military, I bet you I'm gonna like that one too. That's it for these. Peace out. Stiletto. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Peace.